Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have my mom's got a date with a vampire. This is a Disney Channel original movie. It's from the year 2000, and it is an hour and 24 minutes long. It is a comedy. It's a family film, of course. It is a Disney Channel movie, so it's definitely gonna not be moving into the horror angle of the whole vampire thing. He's not Dracula, but we do have a Van Helsing in this story. Malachi Van Helsing. I don't know if we've heard of Malachi before. He's actually played by Robert Carradine, who is, you might remember him from Revenge of the Nerds. The old people in the audience here will remember him from Revenge of the Nerds, primarily. That's when I saw him, I'm like, that guy's kind of like wearing a trench coat and a big hat in a grocery store, walking around, looking kind of creepy. And then I'm just like, wait, that's when he takes the hat off. I'm like, oh, that's Robert Carradine. Yep. So that's by the way, this has a much bigger cast than I realized, at least among the adults that I recognize. We have Carolyn Ray, who is the mom. She plays Lynette, and who goes on the date with a vampire. And how does she get to go on a date with a vampire? What is she doing? What's, this is not exactly Twilight. I mean, what's going on here? Well, the story is that she's a mom of 3 kids, a teenage girl named Chelsea, played by Laura Vandervoort. If you know who that is, well, you've watched Smallville. She played Cabra L. It's Supergirl. She played Supergirl on Smallville. So here she is. She's a teenager. She can't drive yet. So it gives you an idea of how young she is. It is 2000. She was Supergirl in 2007. So 7 years later, that's a bit of a difference there. The other main characters are Matt O'Leary, playing Adam, who's kind of the main character in this, and Miles Jeffrey, who plays Taylor, the little brother. He's 8 and a half. And the vampire, is he a vampire? That's kind of it gets figured out pretty quick, but it's, you have to wonder, is this really going to be like a supernatural thing? Is she really dating a vampire, or do the kids just think he's a vampire? That's played by Charles Shaughnessy. He plays Dimitri, and that sounds like a vampire name. But if you've seen him before, it's because you watched a lot of General Hospital or One Life to Live, I believe. He was also Maximilian, I think. Max in The Nanny, working with Fran Drescher on that. So yeah, he was the main lead in that, playing a very European type guy. And of course, in this case, Dimitri, the vampire. Spoiler. It would be a real letdown if he wasn't a vampire. Dimitri is very much a sort of erudite type of cultured vampire who doesn't really get into rockabilly music, as people apparently were in 2000. Were we really into rockabilly music in 2000? Apparently Carolyn Ray, as when she was younger, she was in a band, and we get to hear her sing in this. Yeah, they go to a rockabilly club. I know, by the way, yes, I'm spoiling a lot of stuff here, just because the movie is 24 years old, and odds are, if you've you know what this is, you know what goes on here. If you don't, there's probably a reason why you didn't watch it. But I'm trying not to spoil everything. But there is actually some interesting surprises. I expected this to be super cheese-tastic and not very good at all. And yeah, the effects, the visual effects haven't aged well, but it's a TV budget. It's a Disney Channel TV budget. And the visual effects of turning into a bat, walking up a wall, not gonna work. Not gonna play real well in the future. It has an interesting soundtrack. Beyond the live band that she performs with, which is a lot of rockabilly music, it's got this weird late 90s, early 80s, late 90s, early 2000s pop rock kind of feel, and then it plays a little like speed metal at times when Taylor, when was it Taylor, the little kid, decides to go off on his own to try to rescue his mom from the vampire. He's a little paranoid about vampires. His older brother lets him watch the movies, and he gets a little over the top. He suspects something, even though he really doesn't have a reason, or does he? Of course, nobody believes him until proof makes itself known. Lack of reflection, pointy teeth, stuff like that. So, the kids have their own reasons for wanting mom to go on a date. It gets her out of the house. So even though they're both grounded, they get to sneak out of the house while mom's on a date. Adam wants to go to a concert. Chelsea wants to go on a date. And at one point, there's a lot going on in this than I expected. A lot more, like there's an A story and a little bit of a B story that sort of all comes together in the end. But some of the things that Adam is willing to go through in order to get these tickets that he was prevented from having because he was grounded, like he makes a deal with the school bully to get him a date with his sister, like he's pimping his sister just to get tickets to his concert. I mean, come on, that's just gross. It's just, and the way it's spoken, the way it's discussed is like, I will. I also get to kiss her at the end of the night. What? Like you've got a 12-year-old who is, or 13-year-old who's gonna make guarantees as to whether his sister's gonna kiss this random dude who has a crush on her. Like he can make that happen. The 13-year-old can't get somebody to kiss him. He's not going to be able to get his sister to put out. I mean, come on. That's just gross. I mean, anyway, it's got enough decent comedy in it, and it's a very family focused storyline. And mom is in danger. Mom's in real danger. But the vampire himself, he is, while tremendously dangerous as you would imagine him, and he's really super creepy at certain points. It's made clear over and over again that this is a vampire, probably hundreds, maybe thousands of years old, and he's going up against children with no powers. Adam, at best, has an extensive knowledge of vampires from watching vampire movies and from the reading what basically in this movie is the National Enquirer. Yeah, it's not like he has anything just built out of facts. It's just stuff he saw in movies. I mean, as we've seen with other vampire movies and TV shows, just because, like in True Blood, it's just because certain things are, like whether it's holy water or it's the cross or anything else might, mess with vampires. It doesn't mean it's real. Just because a legend is out there, it doesn't mean it actually affects them. Sometimes they put out misfit information out there to the public just to mess with them, to make them think they're safe when they're not. In this case, everything that Adam knows, it seems to work, seems to actually come into play. And there are 1,000 moments in this. When the kids are finally in a confrontational state with the vampire, that he could have literally just snapped necks. I know that's really dark. I know this is a Disney thing, and that was never going to happen. And you also have that question at throughout the film. It's like, okay, if they're going to defeat the vampire, are they going to become friends in the end in order to stop his reign of terror, like taking their mom? Or are they going to have to kill him? That's usually the solution to most vampire stories. Buffy taught us that. And here we have a bunch of other teenagers, one of which is a blonde, they have a stake at their disposal. And Van Helsing. Yeah. Are we going to watch a Disney Channel movie where some child stabs a man through the chest with a stake, and then he explodes into dust or goo or whatever it is that happens with vampires in this version of the vampire story? Are we? No, we're not going to get that. They kind of end him, in a sense, prevent him from doing any more harm. And yeah, it ends in a kind of a silly note. Like, he literally says Happy Halloween just before they cut to the credits. So, yeah. This thing came out, I think it looks like it came out on Friday the 13th. So yeah, this is actually more fun than I thought it was going to be. It is, again, it's not an overtly sophisticated film in any means, in any way, but it's entertaining. It's literally, there's moments where I think if this had a bigger budget, it has a feel of those, like, the Adventures in Babysitting kind of films where the kids are having their own kind of existential crisis and they need to overcome some adversity through some really strange means. Like when they're trying to save their mom from being alone with this guy, they're working behind the scenes, riding their bikes into town, sneaking into the club and trying to get the vampire, kicked out because, that's what happens. Adam is very resourceful, very clever, and there's a lot of shenanigans that go into this that should never work, and these kids should all have died really, really early into the film. But the vampire is either just dumb, slow, or just way too confident in his abilities that he doesn't do anything. And it's also a Disney movie. So, yeah, there's... and also the big finale confrontation moment is really slowed down and really stretched out to build tension. And it does that to a degree, if only just wondering, how in the world is this going to resolve? It's going to resolve in the hero's favor. Nobody's going to get turned into a vampire. Nobody's going to die. It's just a bad date. And how do they resolve that? Who's going to come out on top? Will love win in the end? Well, you know how it works. So, you know what? I would honestly recommend this film. And I never thought I'd say that when I saw this coming up. And I've seen this on the list for years now. This has been on Disney Plus, I think, from the start. And I never watched it when it was on the Disney Channel or it came out on DVD or whatever. Never watched it. I didn't have a reason to. It was the year 2000. I was a grown-up. So I just say, yeah, I think kids and sometimes parents as well, because Carolyn Ray plays a great, sympathetic, realistic mom. Again, you know her as Sabrina the Teenage Witch's mom or aunt. Why, I didn't really watch that show myself, but she's she's always likable and all these things. So she plays this nervous mom who's trying to get out there after a divorce. And yeah, by the way, this is a Disney thing that doesn't have a dead parent, but it does have an absent parent. We never see dad. Dad has moved on and is getting married. And it's kind of upsetting mom enough that she's like, when she's given the opportunity to go out with a date that her kids set up for her without her knowing, and even then it doesn't go exactly the way the kids think. Well, she's like, oh, okay, yeah, meet cute in the grocery store. This could work. Let's go out. Even though they have nothing in common. He's charming, but they have none of the same interests, but they muddle through it. So I say it's appealing in a bunch of different ways, but don't expect it to be like ultra sophisticated. Again, like I said, if this thing had a bigger kind of budget and it was shot differently, it's not that it was shot bad, it's just that it was, you deal with the budget you got, and it's Disney Channel. So this, I think, if it was put out in a major motion picture kind of situation, this could have really just gone big. It says TV PG. Did it go into theaters? I don't know. No, it's a Disney Channel movie. It says Disney Channel original, right? I don't know. Either way, Disney original. Either way, it's actually good fun. It's not going to be the kind of movie that's going to change your life. It's not going to do any of that. But I think you'd have a good time with it. The kids are good actors. They're not. I mean, there's a lot of movies out there that where they really just like, oh, the kid has the right look, and he's the second producer's nephew. Give him a job. This is the way some of it works, and talent or not, some people have jobs in Hollywood. But these kids knew what they're doing. Between Laura and what's his face? Why can't I say their names? Laura, Matt, and Tyler, they do their job pretty well. And of course, the older actors, they know what they're doing. They know where they are. It looks like they're having a good time doing it. And I like the building of the connection between little Tyler or Taylor and Robert Carradine's Van Helsing. He begrudgingly takes on this kid, even though he doesn't want to put the kid in danger. He becomes a little bit of a father figure to him, and it gives you kind of an understanding, a kind of a hope that things could work out if mom lives. So yeah, check it out. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 84. Okay. It feels like we've seen this before, but there's a lot of these type of documentaries. There's 3 of them right in a row. The same first word. So if this turns out to be something we've already watched before, and I can't be sure, I'll come right back and we'll pick another one. But 84 is Expedition Amelia. So, yeah. It feels like I've seen it. I don't know. we've over 1,660 episodes. There's some things I'm going to forget. And there's an awful lot of documentaries with very similar names. Expedition Amelia is what we're not watching next in the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.